Hi, welcome to Mills and Zoltar Potter's Studio. I'm going to do a short series of beginning demonstrations on making cylinders. I'm going to start with centering and shaping a straight cylinder, and I'll talk you through the whole thing. So let's get started. Get it anchored very well onto the wheel with a good slam. Your job is going to be to push that clay into the middle of the wheel so it's turning concentrically with the wheel head. I'm going to grab onto the clay with one hand. I like to start with my right hand. Our clay is moving in a counterclockwise direction, and so the clay will slide through your fingers. So I start with my right hand and pull towards me, adding in my left hand and pushing with the heel of my hand. Look at my hand position too. My fingers are overlapping, so I have my front position and the two heels of my hands. I draw that clay up, shift one of my heels up and pushing slowly back down. Our job is to control the clay as it moves up and down. So while I'm pushing down, I'm also pushing in. So what you should try is get that clay moving. Figure out how to push on the clay nice and steady to get the clay moving. If it's not moving, you're not pushing, right? So I'm actually going to pull with my whole arm towards me. Look at how tight my fingers are. Pull towards me and then push in with the heel of my hand. The clay is wrapping around here, and the clay is wrapping around my fingers. I don't have to bend my fingers out or touch my heels. I start with one hand and then fit the other hand over. And look how I can use the heel of my thumb to flatten out the top. I can even use the knuckle of my thumb. Our job is to center the clay, so now you can hardly tell it's moving probably. If I make it off center, you can see it wobble. And so I'll grab on, and I am steady from the center of my back all the way down to my fingertips. I relax and let go, and that will leave it centered. If you let go really fast, you tend to push on the clay, and you'll have to recenter it. Okay, so on to the next step, making an opening. We want the opening to follow the axis down through the middle. We don't want to go all the way to the wheel head. We want to have a bottom on our cylinder. So I'm going to balance my hands together. One hand on the side here for balance, and my middle fingers straight and stiff down my hand. I'm going to push straight down, palm down towards the wheel, and stop just before you think you've gotten to the bottom. See how wide this is? I've achieved that by keeping my fingers nice and straight, and that really lets me see in to the bottom of that cylinder very nicely. I can compress the rim a little bit, keep it nice and steady as I go. Dribble a little water over the edge to keep it slippery as well. So I'm going to make a floor now by moving that ring of clay parallel to the wheel head. I'm going to do that by bending my fingertips slightly, going all the way into the bottom, and then sliding all the way across towards me. Your fingertips will leave rings on the inside, so you can go right back in, and you might need to steady your hand with your second hand. Go back in and find a way to make that rather smooth. Then I'm going to grab around the outside and steady that up. See that? So now I've got a ring of clay here, and that's what I'm going to distribute up into the wall of this cylinder. So my hands are here for balance, and I'm aiming my middle fingertips at each other at the base of that. And I'm going to squeeze gently and feel that ring of clay come all the way to the top. And I'm going to stop before I run off the top. I'm going to compress that rim. You're going to compress the rim every time, and you can put your hands around the outside to keep it straight, and roll your thumbs over gently to keep that rim straight as well. So I'm going to go do it again. I'm going to balance my hands together. You can put all your fingers in, you can leave one finger out, whatever works. You can find a way that your hands are going to aim at the fingertips. Press in from the outside towards the inside and come straight up that wall, stopping just before you get to the rim. So in order to keep this cylinder nice and narrow, I can push, I'll dribble a little water inside first. I can push in right here at that base. See how I grab that base and you can see a little ridge there? And I'm going to push that ridge right up the wall. Slow and steady. Our job is to move the clay into a nice even wall. So there's a floor and a wall all the way around, and we don't want it to be too thick at the bottom. A nice even wall is going to be easier to shape, and that'll be in our next demonstration. So, hands around the outside to keep it nice and straight. If it's all wobbly, this is a thing you can practice over and over and over until you feel like you're pretty good at it. Before you start shaping, you want to get your wall, learn to make your wall of your cylinder nice and even. Shaping will be much easier if you can work on that. I'm going to use my wooden knife. I turn the flat side up so that the angled side is towards the pot, and I lead with the tip and just skim down that surface a little bit. That helps. My fingertips aren't pointy, so that I can't get down there with my fingertip, but that skims off a little bit of that slippy clay so that you can pick this up and take it right off the wheel. If you want to practice how to make a nice compressed surface for decorating later, once you have a fairly even cylinder, try using a rib, a wooden rib, a metal rib, or a plastic rib like mine. This is slightly flexible. Your hand is going to go in and push against that rib as you move up the wall of the pot. So I'm holding it at a slight angle, and I'm pressing in and pressing out from the inside, and then relax as you let go. So I covered about this much area. If I turn it like this, I'm going to slice. So I want to press against this wall with as much surface area as I can to take away some of those throwing rings, and that's going to give me a nicer surface for the kind of decorating I like to do. We're always going to finish our rim, and you can play with your rims too. You can press in from the outside, you can press out from the inside, you can use crooks of your finger. It's a tendency to just press and make them flat, but you have to think about what you're going to use this piece for. If it's going to be a mug, maybe a flat rim isn't the nicest rim to drink out of. If it's a vase, maybe that helps with the design and decoration. So you can choose that, but as you're practicing your cylinders, play with how you finish them and have some fun with it. Trust yourself, and you'll figure out what makes this personal to you. So, till next time, have fun practicing, and the next video will be shaping this cylinder.